Concerning Him. An Emmaus podcast is a ministry of Emmaus Bible College. Concerning Him seeks to enrich Christians around the globe by educating and equipping them through various media. For more information about Emmaus, please visit emmaus.edu.
Hello and welcome to Friday Cookies. Friday Cookies, the podcast. Today we're joined by Jacob Bauder. Hello, Jacob.
Hello.
Friday Cookies is a podcast where we sit down and have one-on-one conversations with current Emmaus students, try to get a little bit of their background. It's named after the famous dining room Friday Cookies. Jacob, have you enjoyed these before?
Every Friday.
Oh, yes. Friday, we have chocolate chip cookies for lunch as the dessert in Emmaus, and it's a favorite of everybody's. I think we've all probably eaten our fair share, more than our fair share of our Friday cookies. So in honor of them, we've named our podcast Friday Cookies. Jacob, what year are you in currently here at Emmaus?
I've just started my junior year at Emmaus.
Your junior year.
Yes.
Exciting. So 2 down, 2 to go. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how about we get started today. You can tell us a little bit about why you chose to come to Emmaus.
Yeah, so I first heard about Emmaus. I was playing soccer in high school, and so there was an Emmaus booth at a nationals tournament that I attended, hosted by Eric's. Why am I blanking on the name? Matthew Thomas. Matthew yes. And Rachel, and so they were there, and they had a booth going and flyers, and I was at the time looking at going into camping ministry. And Emmaus was one of the few schools I heard about that had camping ministry programs. So I was like, why not begin to pursue attending Emmaus? And so then I came to visit on a tour, and it was just very nice atmosphere. I met with a lot of people, met a lot of students, coaches, teachers, and it felt very homey. I grew up going to camps, and that was just the vibe that I felt. Everyone knew everyone. We were all just hanging out. Like people who I didn't know were just coming up to me, and they remember my name at the end of the day, which is just a very cool environment. Small Bible college vibe just really attracted me to the school.
I actually remember I was texting Matthew, and he'll say, "Hey, I just met this kid. I think he's really serious about Emmaus." It was like 10 minutes after he talked to you. I very clearly remember talking to him, and then the next day or a couple days later, he was back in Dubuque, and we were chatting about you. So even before you were a freshman, we were having conversations about you. Well, which program are you in now?
So now I'm in the youth ministry program.
You're in the
youth
youth
ministry. So I just swapped from a different division of the educational ministries department.
Okay, fantastic. Well, tell me a little bit about your program.
Yeah, so youth ministry, I've loved it. It's great. The heads of the department, Jeff Riley and Reagan Beneski, are great guys. I love getting to know us, having meals with us, having lunch, taking us out to hang out at their house for bonfires, just building a really strong personal connection with all of us. A lot of my classmates, we all came in together, and so I know them all, and we all hang out a lot. One of my buddies, Nolan Johnson, is on my floor, and I was just in his room looking at his Lego collection earlier. So it's just awesome. It's a really good environment. We have a lot of fun, a lot of trips. Who else gets to do paintball during their field studies weekends? It's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
Where were you doing paintball at?
We did up at Living Waters.
At Living Waters.
Yeah.
Okay, at Living Waters. Wow. What is your average class size, you'd say, for the classes in that program?
Yeah, they usually average between, I think usually it's around 5 on average. So I think my smallest class that I've had is actually this semester. There's 3 of us in the class. And then last year, I think there were maybe 8 or 10 of us in the class.
Okay.
So
that really
varies.
You really get
very small.
Yeah, you really get a chance to get to know not only your professor, but your other classmates that way too.
So it's good. I like them all.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Well, how about you tell me a little bit about some of your favorite experiences so far at Emmaus?
Yeah, the 2 things that kind of came to my head when I heard this question. One is a very general experience, and one is a very particular experience.
Okay.
So one of them is I've been a part of the student union here at Emmaus for all 3 of my years so far, and that's just a really fun time because being able to foster the community here at Emmaus, just get to know each other in a really good way and create the events to have those friendships be founded.
So what is Student Union doing exactly?
Yeah, so Student Union, when people ask, I like to jokingly refer to us as a glorified party planning committee. But our mission is to build community and unity in the Emmaus environment. So we put together events such as this past weekend, I'm a little burnt from our volleyball tournament yesterday for Labor Day weekend. One of the other big events that we put on is Winterfest. And it's 3 days. We pick a theme such as Indiana Jones, Star Wars, the Olympics, fun stuff like that. Put together skits, games, foods, activities, and just have the day off school to have a really fun time of just activities and just memory making for the students. So we do that in order to build community and unity through our events.
Okay, and then you're the president this year, aren't you?
We're moving up the ranks.
What were you last year?
So last year I was the secretary.
Okay.
And the year before that I was I think it's technically the event coordinator, but it's the freshman position.
Okay. So you've been in every single year?
Yes.
Wow. Next year?
No. Bowing out.
Okay, sounds good.
Senior seminar is going to take that time.
Okay. So that was your general one, right?
Yes, so that's the general one.
And tell me, what have you been doing so far? What's that look like day to day for you?
Day to day, I mean, it's a lot about just being ready for the events and being available to help out anyway. So whether that's through bringing food for the picnic at the Arboretum when the freshmen go to do their service day.
Okay.
Or just being around on campus like, oh, someone doesn't have a car and they need to go to the store to get aloe. Just being ready, ready and willing to serve and drive in whatever capacity needed. Or like for when we did the SLT fair, Mr. Cozen asked if our team would be willing to help out with that. So like there's a lot of very specific responsibilities such as the events or being at meetings. But there's also just a lot of other smaller, more general responsibilities that come along as you go, just based on what is needed at the time of the community.
Okay, great. Well, how about you tell us about your more specific...
So the specific one that I was thinking of is every year the Educational Ministries Department goes on a road trip to Colorado, and we're there for about a week, drive down, drive back in like 2 or 3 vans, visit a lot of different ministries, do a lot of hiking, just a lot of hanging out, playing games. And that was just a really fun time of bonding for, I feel like, the whole department. Road trips are always a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of music, lots of funny jokes that happen and weird things that you can't even predict that are going to happen. And it was just a really good time, we climbed a mountain and we're able to just worship and watch the sunrise over Pikes Peak, like fun stuff like that you just can't do in flat little cornfields, Iowa. And so it was just a really great time. And I feel like that's probably going to be the big memory that I take away with me as of now. I mean, I'm looking forward to it again this year.
Yeah,
but
that's great. What were some of the ministries you guys visited, if you remember?
We visited... why am I blanking on the name? Focus on the Family. I wanted to say Plugged In, but that's just part of their ministry.
Yeah, Focus on the Family.
Focus on the Family. I think one of them was called Narrow Road Ministries. There were just a couple different ones.
Okay,
because there's a lot of ministries focused in and around the Colorado Springs area.
Yeah. That's great. Well, last but definitely not least, what's next after Emmaus? What are you doing with your youth min degree?
Obviously with the youth min degree, I'm looking at going into ministry. There's a couple churches that I've been looking at, started getting to know some different pastors. A lot of it's just going to kind of depend on what's open and where the Lord leads.
Okay.
If that ends up in church as a youth pastor, awesome. If that ends up in a general youth ministry style place, such as Focus on the Family, awesome. If it ends up at a camp, awesome. I'm kind of open to wherever the Lord leads.
Okay.
And just kind of waiting and seeing what comes up in my way.
Well, that's very, very exciting. Well, thank you very much for coming on today. It's been awesome having a quick little chat with you. Hopefully we'll have you on again maybe later in the school year. So, well, thank you very much for joining us. And this has been Friday Cookies.
Thank you for listening to Concerning Him, an Emmaus podcast. Ministries like Concerning Him are possible because of the generous contributions from our partners around the world. For more information about partnering with us, please visit emmaus.edu/partner.